Before I was on the TV, I would be doing every funeral that the company had. But now I sort of step back a little bit because I get quite anxious now going to tangi with everyone coming up to me. When somebody says to you, gosh, your mum looks better dead than alive, you know you've done a good job. I know that's awful, but that's our thank you. It's children's funerals that are that's when we say those words, oh, man, that was a hard funeral today. Oh, yes, you must have had a baby or a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old. Those are the ones that are just... I had the deepest privilege of taking care of a vessel. And I wouldn't change it for the world. It was one thing you had to get right. We had a gentleman pass away and his wife got up and spoke. And then we opened the floor. And then a lady gets up who was his mistress. She brought the child up that they had. And I was like...
Is it just your love for the mahi that keeps you in this space?
Mandate. Welcome to Mandate, where we navigate fresh perspectives and nothing is off the table. Tonight's guest is originally from up north, from Pawarenga, but now resides in Tamaki Makaurau, Okilani. The man is renowned and the man is an amazing individual because he's well known throughout the mutu. And so you know him, you know his face, you know his voice, you've seen him on TV, and he's had 6 seasons on TV, which is giving it away a little bit. So you can guess the man is the most famous funeral director across the board in terms of Aotearoa, New Zealand. The man is also an MC, a presenter, but also a successful businessman, entrepreneur. The man also is an amazing husband to his lovely wife, awesome father to his 7 kids, but more also has an amazing story to share. Please put your hands together for the man himself, one half of the Casketeers, Francis Tipene!
Kia ora, thank you. Tēnā koe ho, tēnā hoki koe te tuahine o tira kia kōrua. Everybody listening, tēnā koutou and watching, sorry. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Thank you for having me. What a huge introduction. I better live up to it now.
So you already have. We're chatting at the back out there, Francis, and just your the aura, the mana that when you walk in, the humility. Obviously, you've had 6 seasons on the Casketeers. But I thought just to start the ball rolling, because people think, the funeral director. But in terms of the publicity, because of the exposure on media and TV, brother, if you can describe for us, how has that changed your life in terms of who you are as an individual, but also what you do now and the job that you do right now in terms of a different perspective of becoming a funeral director?
Kia ora. Thank you. First, thank you for having me here, Korua. And it's a huge privilege to be able to watch the show and been inspired by some of the kaikōrero that have attended and been on the show. So I'm very grateful to be here on Mandate. To answer the pātai, it has changed a little bit for me in terms of, going to do or to conduct funerals now. It's a little bit different. Where prior to the show, and it's not because of becoming, well, maybe it is becoming famous, but it's, before I was on the TV, I would be doing every funeral that the company had or had a hand in it. But now I sort of step back a little bit because I get quite anxious now going to tangi or to funerals and to conduct funerals with everyone coming up to me. So, I had a Catholic funeral, and what you generally do is you hold the casket outside, and the priest, you've got to wait. You can't take the body in until the priest comes to the door. So he came to the door, and this was after the 2nd season. And it was, ready, Father? Yes, follow me. So we really took the casket up, and as we're going up, everyone was just staring, but generally they look at the casket and the flowers, but they were staring at me and it's like, hi, and that it just happened again and again and again, and it, like, I could put up with it, now, but there was a little bit of it. I felt disrespectful to the person that was dead, And a lot of times when people would be doing eulogies, they would incorporate this, the the final stage, the Dad got the Casketeers in here, and we're so thankful for the Casketeers. And I was just like, because that's not what it was about. And so I laugh about it now, but back then I was horrified. I ring my wife and say, "Oh, they've taken it away from Matua's funeral service and the eulogy, and it's all changed." And so now I sort of just step back. I mean, I'll go to take care of some family and friends, or if you request, I'll look after you. But I've sort of brought more staff in to help out, because it's a little bit I don't want to take away from the mana of the person that has passed away. But yeah, others will lead, and I'll come in behind and maybe carry the flowers, usher, help families, just like that, but not sort of take too much of a leadership role, because it gets out of hand. Yeah.
Oh, man. But I think we talked a bit earlier on, Francis, that it's part and parcel. You put yourself out there, out in the public, and sometimes people scrutinize you and so forth, but then you have people who absolutely love you. Like, it's just, even in the midst of a sad time or sorrowful time, being in a funeral, and then people, like you just said, people just want to, Francis, I just want this to the Casketeers, all that kind of stuff. So in terms of when people are kind of, because you're a household name now, whether you like it or not, you're a household name. People know who you are, you and your wife. And so how do you manage to block all that, all the publicity, people wanting to talk to you, people wanting to kind of chew your ear off, all that kind of stuff? What do you do to kind of like, I need to stay focused at this, because this is someone's, like you said, this is someone's funeral.
I haven't figured that out. I'm sorry, I do not know. Why it's hard is because I don't like to offend people. So people would, as you're walking down the aisle, not the wedding aisle, the other aisle of death, that aisle, and people say, "Can we have a photo?" And you can sort of say, "Yes, after." Absolutely, come and see me after. I'll just put the deceased up there by the altar, sort of thing. And so I just don't want to ever do that. And so trying to figure that out, I do it as we go. I don't know how to cope, because I'm not sure if it's ever happened before that someone like a funeral director has become like this. You've got your sports stars, your movie stars, and then you have a funeral director. And so it's a new space to navigate, but I'll just work with it and try my hardest. I know there are a lot of people that will hate on me because I've forgotten to take the photos, because at the end, when I say to them, we'll come and have a photo at the end, well, I've forgotten that the casket is placed in the hearse, and now we've got to drive off to bury it. And I'm like, I forgot the photos of that kuia, that old lady, the mama, tina, all of the people that wanted photos. And so I tried our best, but without taking away from the mana of the person that has died. But learn as we go, and that's why I like to take someone else and let them lead. So if these people want to talk and want to tell me about their story, I can do that while they're leading, while my other staff are leading the casket to the front. That's sort of one way I've sort of figured out to do it.
Cool.
Because it's also a form of comfort, eh?
Yes.
Because you're right, it's not like you're going into a concert.
True.
You're actually in a place where people are grieving, and they're mourning the life of the person who's passed away, obviously. And so I can imagine it's a hard balance, because you're like, I don't want to say no, because I also know they're grieving. This might actually keep them in a good space, but I also need to do my mahi. That's a massive split.
Yeah, no, you're right. But also of lately, I've learnt and worked that photos, especially with our Pacific Island people, are normal. And so I'm like, if you want a photo now, let's stop the casket and have a photo, because that's quite, I'm like, yeah, no problem. But, the other cultures like the Māori and our Palangi families, they wouldn't sort of put up with that during everything. But no, I've no problems there. But yeah, I don't want to offend anyone, because you're right. Something you might say might help them,
Yeah.
And so I always want to go back to them and say, now I'll always have another staff member to lead and direct, and I'll be at the back in case anyone wants to.
Yeah, that's clever. Yeah. It's a good strategy.
That's clever, man. But even running it back a bit, Francis, because you and your wife, Kaiora, in terms of how did because I'm thinking to myself, how did it all unfold? Whose bright idea was it to say, hey, let's get a funeral director, let's film them, and let's film the behind the scenes and capture all of this. How did it all kind of pan out?
There's a lady, Annabelle Lee Harris back then, but she's married to Jim Mather, so Annabelle Lee Mather. And it was her idea. This is her kaupapa of the Casketeers. She used to work on Māori TV for a program called Native Affairs, and so she did a story on our funeral home back then. And then she came up with the idea. She goes, hey, to her and Kaiora, good friends, what do you think about this idea of us filming you and funerals and everything that happens behind the scenes? And Kaiora goes, yes, let's do it. And then she told me, she goes, hun, I'm going to let the my Annabelle come in with cameras. And I was like, whoa, stop. This was how long ago? 6-7 years ago. And I think at that time, 8 years ago, and I think at that time, I'm not sure if we were ready for all of that. But as social media grew and people were live streaming funerals and there were bereavement notices going out on Facebook, I thought, okay, now we're ready. Let's do it. And so so that was her idea. And she said, look, it's going to be a documentary. And I thought, oh, okay. I wasn't sort of too into it at the time, but after thinking about it, I thought, well, this could be quite educational. And then it became quite a quirky, sort of a funny thing. And then I watched the first episode. I was like, oh gosh, I'm a bit strange. I'm a bit weird. It's so hard to watch yourself on TV. It's like, ugh. And so I don't really watch them anymore. And that's the beauty of it. You just keep going and don't watch it. But that's how it came about. Yeah.
Well, even before that, like who grows up and says, I want to be a funeral director. I mean, that's a vocation that I don't know whether you choose it or it chooses you. How did that come about? Yeah,
up in Paoringa where I grew up, there was a tangi, a funeral every week. Someone would die, sadly, or in Auckland they're always brought back home to be buried. And so I was, up there when somebody dies in the valley. We all go down to do the pōwhiri and the tangi process and work our customs and tikanga. And so I was always intrigued when like an auntie or an uncle I knew died and then they came back in the coffin and the lid comes off and they just looked so good. I was like, wait, she looked awful when she was alive, like terrible. And now she's dead, she looks beautiful. How did they do that? Like, And a lot of people, like my uncles, their tummies would have dropped. Like they were like, how did he lose all that weight? What it took him to die. And then I loved that everything was beautiful. Like they were always dressed in their best and presentation wise. And that sort of drew me to it. I was like, I want to know how they did that. And I know that's a bit morbid and weird, but there are some people in the world that think like that, and I'm one of them. And I just followed it through. I was like, oh, so I've moved to Auckland with Kaiora, and we had to find a job and knocking on all the funeral home doors to see if I could get in, but it's a very closed industry, or back then it was, and now here we are. We came to Auckland, trained, got qualified in Wellington, and followed through with it. But that's where it all came from, was seeing aunties and uncles come back looking amazing, and I just wanted to know how they did that, and now I know.
Wow. Gosh. Okay, so that all came from you just wondering how do they look so good after they die? Because
the hair was done, but makeup and uncles, and they were shaved and they were put up with their shirts on because there's the belief that you got to meet the Lord in your best dress, So that's what it was, and I was like, man, they look awesome, and when somebody says to you, gosh, Mum looks better dead than alive, you've done a good job. That's what I know that's awful, but that's our thank you, you've done. Oh, man, Mum looks, especially when someone's been in hospital with cancer or whatever, they just deteriorate. Yeah. And so it's up to you to bring back their dignity, however, in whatever manner possible to have a beautiful final outcome, final presentation, and that's what we do.
Do you have to know a little bit about them to know how to get them to their best presentation?
Yes. You'll ask if someone's emaciated, like really shrunk, and they've had cancer for a while, we'll ask the family for a photo of what they look like in their prime, and try and bring them back a little bit of, and, we can't make it exactly the same, but a little bit more, try and give them a smile, because at the time the funeral is for the whanau behind, for the living. It's not, this person hopefully is gone beyond and up to our matunui te rangi, but we have a job to make the final memory beautiful, and that's all we live for.
Yeah, because again, that's part of the grieving process, eh?
Yes, definitely. Well, more so for us, Māori and Pacific. We're very visual, very hands-on, and our Palangi people are slowly coming around to viewing. Yeah,
that's so true. We are visual and hands-on because when those bodies come home, we're all hands, eh?
Yes, very much so.
But in terms of obviously, in terms of the funeral directing and what you see, and it can be quite draining. I can imagine must be draining, and quite sorrowful. And you hear the families and the whānau crying throughout the tangi. So how do you? I can imagine for you and your wife, how do you kind of balance that those emotions? Because it might be like you could be caught up with those emotions as well. Like, man, I'm feeling quite sad and depressed throughout the whole ordeal, throughout the funeral. How do you kind of navigate during those times when you feel like, I feel drained as well, I feel tired, I'm feeling quite sad because this person has died, I don't even know who they are, but I'm feeling the emotions as well.
Yes. We generally, Kaira and I, or our team, will just talk with each other. And at that point when I say, that was a big one, eh? We're like, he's been affected. We don't really say, I'm feeling this, because I know that's a bad thing. We're not really expressive, but they won't. They'll just say, that was a big funeral. Like, he needs to talk, or she needs to talk. Those are the codes. But I don't know why they don't. Are they fear that we think you're weak? But I mean, yeah, it's just but I do it too to my wife. I say, Mum, because I call him. I was like, Mum, that was a big funeral. So she goes, what happened? And so then we'll talk about it. But generally, it's children's funerals that are that's when we say those words. Oh, man, that was a hard funeral today. Oh, yes, he must have had a baby or a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old. Those are the ones that are just, no one wants to do this. Team, because we have a team's, 7-year-old child, such and such. No one puts their hands up. No one wants to do it. So I have to force them. So you're the best person for this. You'll do it. Okay. Not because we don't want to, but we don't want to get tied up in the emotion because it's so sad. But we do have supervision available for the team, but they'd rather just sit at the table and eat and talk. Oh. And I think that's if it works, it's the best way. Yeah. And I'm not a really cuddly person, but if the female staff thinks, boss, I'll bring my wife, come and get me cuddle. But, that's, yeah.
We're one of those, hey, Francis, give me a hug. I should bring up Cold.
I'll bring up my wife, hang on. Yeah. But everyone knows, like, that they know. But if I'll sit down with you and have a quarter, they're like, thank you, bosses. It's all right. We've got to do what we've got to do. But in terms of just a general, like an elderly person, not saying there's not a different love for them, it's just, it's a bit easier for us. It's just yes, because the family were there, and that's, we can have a lot of fun with someone who's died, preparing them. They might be hard for you to embalm or to dress. They might not, legs might not get into the trousers or the underwear, and you say, you don't like these pants, sort of thing like that, and that's okay. And the minute their family walk in and start crying, you go, because you don't have any, you don't know, you don't know his character or anything like that. The family bring his character. They will share what he was like, and then you hear them all crying. Dad, you've got your favourite pants on, and then you look at yourself and yes, those were his favourite pants, and it brings emotion and wairua to the person that we were looking after. But prior to them entering, we would have been, we were very happy with preparing him. People say, it must be a sad job. It is sad when their family are around, but it's not sad when we're together, because we don't have, we don't know him, so we're just going to do the best we can. They walk through the door, they start to cry. Oh, it's so hard, so we just step outside. Otherwise, we're just human. We'll cry as well.
I love how you talk to their. I love how you talk to them, even though they're clinically dead. I love how you engage with them and you talk to them. Even in that little comment that you said, like, "Oh, you don't want to put these pants on." Like, I guess my question is, would you consider yourself quite a spiritual person in that wider sense?
Probably. I would consider myself not as just as spiritual as any other of us. Is that fair? I mean to say, like, I wouldn't say I'm a psychic. I can
No,
not at all. But
not that extreme.
No, not that. Just went to church when I was young, with Nan and Pop, but very open to the fact that possibly, they might be watching, so I don't want to get anything. I was like,
okay, cool.
I was like, oh, nah, because, got to go to bed at night and I want to sleep well, sort of thing, and not have them, you didn't pull my pants up properly. They're still down behind at the back where the family can't see. No,
You don't want to hear that, Francis.
My pants. So that is what we got to go have a sleep. So I'm like, no, we're going to do everything right. And then as the family come in and say, oh, those are the wrong pants. Sweet, let's take them off because, again, we've got to put the right ones on because I don't want any nightmares or any haunting.
Actually, I totally get that.
Yeah?
I totally get that because, you're right. It's not, and we know that they can't harm us. We know that, but it's just your conscience, isn't it? It's just your conscience that you did everything properly with integrity. Okay, I get it. Because I just wondered if maybe you had, I don't know, some kind of, as you engage with them and you talk to them, I love that part of you. And you're right when you said earlier that you hold their mana, and that comes clearly in the shows, that you're really respectful of who they are as a person and as a, I guess even as a tinana, as a body that's lying there. You're so engaged with them and you absolutely connect with them and you kōrero with them, and I'm kind of going, is he actually having a kōrero with them? But I understand now, because you're right. I know when I do, when I work with people, always making sure that you don't leave any stone unturned, that you're always doing stuff properly with integrity, so you can kind of be rest assured that you don't have anything coming back at you later on.
Correct. And they probably won't, but it's just your mind, eh? You're like, oh, I didn't do this properly or that. So, And so we do it properly. And, I mean, even the staff at work, I hear them like, they say, oh, here comes the boss that talks to the dead, because they mock me about it. And then next minute you hear them doing it too. But, I won't mock them. I'll just leave it be like they'll put the body in the car. So I'm like, okay, Mrs. Smith, let's go to the crematorium. I'm like, I'm not just the only one talking to the dead. But it rubs off because you got to say something to them, We can't just say, all right, bye, dear. No, when we're going to the crematorium, we're doing a lot more of what they call no-service cremation. So a lot of our Palangi families, like if a loved one dies, they just want you to pick them up from the rest home or the hospital, bring them back, place them in a casket, and maybe the next day or day later cremate them, and there's no funeral, no viewing, no nothing. And that's what they, those are their wishes. And so we don't recommend that, by the way. That's why we give them a couple of days to say, well, you think about that in case you want to come and see your mum or dad. But so those are no service cremations. And at that point, I think every one of us feel, take care, Mr. Smith, rest easy, because there are no family here. And they may not believe in what we believe in, so we respect that. But we believe it, so we'll just give them a little farewell and say, take care, sir. Go easy, because it's not the family we're worried about. It's not him. It's our own mind and for our own wairua to say that, we did something nice, because it could easily turn into, that was so sad, and there was no family here. It was so, she was such a beautiful old lady. She looked lovely. I don't know why they couldn't come and see her. Because we often say that all the time, like, and so now one of our policies is we'll give the family 2 days in case they change their mind. But no, they don't change their mind. They know what they want to do, and that's okay. But yeah, so just for the staff and the kaimahi, it's nice for them to say, take care, and then they'll put them into the cremator.
That's such a
Beautiful, man.
and that's so. I mean, it's strategically done in the context of the well-being of you and your staff, eh?
Mm-hmm.
That you do this so that you're not having to carry, because it's the grief process, and there's still grief that's attached to that person now not being here anymore, and we can feel some of that, and so that all your processes and procedures reflect aroha, reflect a real sense of respect around how a person exits this, exits. I really respect that.
Thank you. No,
It's a
and
process.
it's taken a long time of rights and wrongs and learnings and doing better, but we've come to an understanding now, but that process there is not something we teach. You'll watch them learn, like all the new funeral directors that come into the company, and we have what we call direct cremations. They learn that because that's for their own well-being.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the crematorium now, Mrs. Smith. All right, here you are. Take care, sort of thing. And it's just amazing. I'm like, wow. See, and they've learnt their coping mechanism. That's how they do it. It's also a bit sad that there were no family members there, but again, that is their way, and that's what they wanted. And sometimes the person who's died has written it in the will. I don't want a funeral. Don't dress me. Don't have any cup of tea. No, nothing. Straight to the crematorium. And so we're just respecting what they wanted. Hey, still, beautiful thing in the Māori world is when you're dead. You're dead. We will tell you what you're going to do. We will lay out the funeral and say this is what we're going to have. So I could write it in my will that I want a direct cremation, like I said, and then I die, and then everyone, no, we're going to have a 5-day funeral. I'm just giving you an example of the Māori way. So, no, don't worry about your wills and your this and that. You're dead. Takoto, they say. Takoto means lie. So you're dead, takoto mai. All right, let's have a hui and talk about how long the funeral's going to be, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But in the other world, well, they just go by the wills.
That's
a cool way. And I think that's why the Casketeers are so successful in terms of, obviously, 6 seasons, and because of how you handle and how you, in terms of the people who have passed on, and the way, like Carol was saying, you talk to them, you have a kōrero with them, and so, but what you do very, very preciously and delicately, Francis, is that you humanize it. You humanize it, and you make it raw. You personalize it for people who are watching. And then people think, what's this all about? And once they watch it, like, oh my gosh, it's like they're hooked. And because you humanize it, and it becomes so personal, it's like, wow, gosh, this is what. And you bring this person who's passed on. It's like you kind of bring them back to life. Oh. And so you bring it, and people are watching this. I can guarantee a lot of people have cried through some of the episodes. And so, Francis, in terms of the industry, have you seen a lot of people? What's the feedback, and what's in terms of the responses in terms of other funeral directors in terms of watching your show? Is it beginning to boom the industry, or or are people like, man, thank you for putting this on and making bringing our industry to life, so to speak?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, overall, I think it's been a positive opening into the industry for a lot of the funeral homes, which is beautiful. This was intended. See, when we made this, my biggest fear was to upset the industry because it's very closed, and so I was like, I'm going to get ready for the onslaught of the Funeral Association of Funeral Directors and all of these people. They sort of did, but now they've sort of stepped back because it's all done with good intent. Nothing's done to put anyone down. And so when I meet my peers, other colleagues, they say, oh, thank you, it's really good. And some of the sort of things that they're like, that they say to me is, now everyone wants me to sing with a guitar, and now everyone wants me to do a prayer, now, all of this. I was like, that's all our own individual funeral homes, but ultimately it's been great for everyone in the industry to open it up a little bit more. Maybe in some of them they've had to step up a little bit more and not, and I'm talking about like not just the run of the mill anymore, like pick up, dress, casket, drop off sort of thing. You've got to humanize it, like you said, a little bit more. So that's been the good side for the consumer, but a bit more work for the people, the owners, the business owners. Yeah, but not our worry. The people are benefiting from it, and for a long time, it was a palangi run industry, as you know, and so just of recent years we've had many people of us Pacifica and Māori people come into it. I mean, one of our great examples was when the late Inga was here. You know, he was someone we were like, wow, look at this. Now that's a superstar undertaker, you know, back in the days, and we're like, oh, how does he manage? So I should have had a chat to him prior to his passing to say, hey brother, how do you manage with, you know, your funerals and being a huge superstar? But yeah, so there's them, and you've got Ese down the road, and Haven Falls, and us as well, and Ngā So it's opened up a little bit more, which is great for our people.
Wow. So you guys, obviously the community in terms of the industry, do you guys kind of talk to each other, collaborate, or do you guys kind of?
Yeah, some, like those who are part of the association, they do. But now and again, we might need advice from each other. Like we'll ring up each other. Oh, I have this issue with embalming, or I have this issue with a family, and we just help talk to see what works best. Because if one wins, we all win. You know, it's one of those tainted with the brushes thing. We've got to keep it together, and we work extra hard to look after each other, because it can easily turn on us.
Man.
Oh, so it's not like a competitive industry. It's quite collaborative.
Oh no, it's competitive, but we're all in our different areas.
Oh yeah, regions.
Regions, and in Auckland we're all scattered strategically to service different areas. So, but sadly there's a lot of people dying, so there's enough work for everyone to.
Yeah, welcome to the welcome to the airport.
That was a low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Oh wow. What was I going to say? When you told your wife that you were going to move in, did you both want to do this, or how was it when you? Because your wife is amazing, man. She comes across on TV. I don't know her, but she comes across on TV like absolutely supportive, like superwoman. Just juggles it all, and just gets behind all your ideas and your innovations. What was she like when you first told her that this is what we're going to do?
She said no. She was a bit afraid because, you know, Māori in death, it's a very sacred thing. It's very tapu. We don't get involved with it. And in fact, you know, we still have trouble trying to find Māori staff, you know, coming to work with us. Majority of my staff are Samoan, Tongan, even in our Porirua branch, you know, that it's just something they're like, oh, no, thank you, kapai. And so that was the same whakaaro that my wife had. And so she didn't want to do this at all. And I'm grateful that she said yes. I'm not sure if she wants to still do it, I know, but she's still here, and that I'm grateful for. But she wasn't. When I first started training here in Auckland at a funeral home, you know, I'd get home and she'd have a bucket of water outside, because we believe in washing our hands, and she'd dip your hands in here, and then she'd take your clothes off here, like at the door, and hangs them up in there. And these were suits and shirts, but, you know, honestly, it really was such a, well, it still is, you know, a very sacred thing to do. Thankfully now she walks around the funeral home in bare feet and slippers, and, you know, and I was like, oh, what happened to the days of holy water everywhere and taking your clothes off at the door? So it has changed. And she's like, no, I get it. What she said to me one day, she goes, we are the carers of the dead. We're the protectors of tikanga. And I was like, kia ora.
Wow.
So you know, and I was like, that's right. And so for us to, you know, like, so we have a mortuary here, so we're embalming, and so food and death is in Māori is no. There's tapu and there's noa, meaning sacredness, and not sacred over here. You can go about your daily life, but we have to dip in and out of those two realms, like every half hour, come out for a drink in there, food, lunch sort of thing. And so at the time when I saw our embalmers doing that, I was in shock. I was like, oh, no, you guys can't do that. And they're like, well, we're going to just be starving all day. And I was like, kia ora. And Kairo's like, they're the kaumahi, they're the protectors of the. I was like, kia ora, go for it. You know, and so now it's all changed, and it has to be done. I mean, they're not machines, they're not robots. So I was like, kia ora. So a lot of learning has happened during that time, and we speak to our elders and kaumātua and tell them what we do. They're like, well, that's what tikanga's there for. You implement a tikanga in your workplace and use it. Go for it. You know, if it works and families are happy, that's cool. So that's what we do. We chop and change it to make it work for us.
Just for people who don't understand what tikanga is.
Tikanga are like protocols, things that we can, not we can and can't, that we should and should not do. Like when you go into a marae, you take your shoes off. And that's the same, you know, you can have tikanga in your home. You come into my home, you need to take your shoes off at the door, same sort of thing. And that's what it is. And so a tikanga that doesn't generally change, and that, which is more of a kawa, which is a rule, is that you don't have food near a body, because they're two different realms. So we generally, when somebody dies, the husband or the wife will stay near the body and not eat for the duration of the funeral. That's the real practice until the end, and then we bury the body, and then they'll have a big feed. So we bring them from the world of darkness, have a feed, they're back into the realm of light and living. Yeah, so that's why they don't mix the two together.
Wow, that's good. I mean, and it's good to hear what your processes are around changing that, you know, like shifting some of that tikana to suit the protectors of the dead. I love how you've been able to establish, like you said, protocol, but you've also been able to establish roles and the function of those roles to be able to protect the mahi that you do.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, really, that's really cool. And you have your kaumātua and your kuia to be able to check in with.
Yes, yeah, to make sure we're not just making up all these things, but you've got to check in to say, is this okay? What do you think? Because there's wisdom in our elders, as we all know, and so we'll just run it past them. They said, oh, is everyone okay? Anyone been sick? No? All right, it's working. Keep doing this. Kia ora.
What was her, and I asked this from the context of a husband and wife relationship, right? And you have the husband who has these bright ideas and then the woman's like, hey, and so I guess my question is around, like, we might hear something from our husbands at first and then we're like, but we go with it, you know, with a little bit of like hesitation and a little bit of caution, but we go with it anyway. At what point did she sort of go, okay, we're in it, there's no turning back? Just so that, you know, other men out there who have ideas that they want to share with their husbands, wives, that they can kind of go, okay, there's a time frame, there's some hoops that you got to jump through, and there's a particular moment when she's going to turn, just to kind of get.
When she comes around, she'll come around in.
That was hard, but the moment we stopped eating noodles every night. No, the moment I was like, let's get some, roast, because it was, the times were tough, and so we started, and she was like, oh, darling. And then when we got married, she never had a ring. We couldn't afford it, and so our auntie, she gave me her ring to put on her finger, just symbolically. Yeah. And then later on, a ring came. I have another idea, honey. What is it? But that's, and that's said with humility, but in fact it's just the way a business is run, and the truth about it all. But that's what it was, and now everything I do is not so much that. It's about, okay, how much is it going to cost? And I've learned so much from her now. Like, we have so many staff and we've got wages to pay, and I just sit back and getting heart attack. Whoa! And so now everything's done slowly. But back then I was like, no, we have to invest. We have to do this. Come on, trust me. And then, we had a roast and we had butter instead of margarine. And then, oh, honey. So that was, I mean, is this wrong?
That's cool.
So I already said it. And that's what it was. But we were, when you start out, it is, it's tough. But, and our kids were, I wouldn't change it. It's awesome. It's very humbling, and that they always at the dinner table sometimes they're like, "Oh, Dad, remember we had noodles every night?" I was like, "Yes, I do." In front of all the guests in the money. Anyway, another bread and butter. But those were the times, and so you have a vision, and she doesn't always share the vision, but if she doubts you, man, I've got to work hard to make sure the vision comes to fruition, because otherwise you'd never hear the end of it.
I got some laughs on there.
Yes.
Brad,
Yeah.
what do you reckon, Brad?
The end of it. Yeah.
You can chime in also.
That's a hard case, bro. Bro, this is slightly left field, this question, but you're saying that lately, unfortunately, there have been a lot of deaths, and so business has been good. I mean, it's a strange way of putting it, but have you seen any patterns as to the dead that are coming in? Like, are they all from, like, is it increase in, like, cancer patients or, like, accidents or... I don't know if you can speak on that specifically, but
I can, yes, definitely. So the majority, 80% of our work is cancer. It's always a cancer, a carcinoma, and then the rest are generally heart attacks or accidents. There's been a lot of suicides lately, which is always mind-boggling, and different ages as well coming in. You're like, whoa, matua. It's like, wow, with grandchildren, and then see, we can expect. This is, and I say this again with humility. We with aroha actually, we expect young people when we talk about suicide, not so much elder. Like but lately there's been a lot of elderly. When I say elderly, I'm talking like 60s, and that's weird. I was like, whoa. Because the pattern has been younger people, and anyway, we need that whole pattern to stop, everything to stop. But it's just really, really different to see someone that has taken their life, in their 60s. Everyone steps back and goes, whoa, did this man? Yes, he did. Yeah.
How do you? What is your tikana for that, for suicides? Deaths by suicide. Is it any different or just the same?
Just the same. We've got to keep it across. There's a different way in approaching the family though, because that's not someone who dies from cancer. Sadly, their family is different to the way someone dies from suicide. They're everything's anger, all of that. So you've got to treat them differently. Just take your time with it.
Yeah, that's true. Because there's so many unanswered
questions. We're someone with cancer. Yeah, we're still absolutely grieving, but it's slightly expected a little bit. Yeah, but when someone does that, it's everyone knows. They're like, okay, there's the whanau coming now. Everyone's quiet and let them be. It might be, some people come in. Having had a drink, because that's how they deal with it. But and we don't mind as long as they're controlled. That's okay. They'll come in swearing. They'll come in angry. That's okay too, because this is something that no one expected. So we just leave it, just carry on and sit down and let them have their time.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because as we shared with you, we work in that suicide prevention space. We don't always get to hear directly from the funeral directors and those that prepare the body for the funeral and have to deal with the immediate grief of the whanau. And so that's quite interesting. Yeah, really insightful.
Quick question for, all of you guys. Pete and Caroline, of course, because you guys work in the suicide prevention space. Also, you're obviously in the funerals. Why would there be an increase, or why do you guys think there's an increase in the older folk who have grandchildren, have lived a prosperous life, potentially taking their lives? And if you're saying there is an increase in that, that's alerting, to say the least. Is there you guys have any possible ideas as to why that could be the case? It's all speculation, of course, but just to raise awareness and
I don't. When younger people, it's you sort of got a gist of things. You can sort of feel it, and the family will sort of figure it out a little bit along the way. It's, girl issues or parent relationship issues, but we don't really talk. They don't really. We don't probe into it. Everyone's just shocked when it's in the 60s. Or even 50s, 60s. It's still young in my eyes, So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't have
60s. Just similar with young people and other sort of population groups. It could be anything, but we know that there's certain phases that we transition in from adolescence to adulthood, from adulthood to then becoming not an elderly, but you're starting to move into that older phase, and every phase comes with changes, and one of the more prominent ones when you're in your 60s is loneliness. You can see just the shift in society around the way they perceive you at that age, and so you're not perceived as stronger or as capable as maybe you were once, and you might perceive yourself that. It could be also shift in income, shift in children leaving home, and there's so many dynamics. But our elderly do have the highest rate of suicide, as opposed to our rangatahi.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I mean, yeah, and
It is
a lot
wow.
of those,
Yes.
a lot of those suicides are unreported. So the methods that are used are often things like overdosing on medication. And I can't really speak too much on it because I don't know the actual facts around it, but there's a lot of accidental sudden deaths that
Say unreported.
Yeah, unreported.
Wow.
they go unreported and they're seen as accidents. And you must have to deal with a lot of the accidental ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you treat them all the same.
Treat them
Yeah.
all the same.
Yeah. That's cool.
I say that with respect, because at the end of the day, we're human, and so we just don't have the capacity and the energy to just individualize. But yeah, but one thing we don't treat the same is the families. Every family, you understand. You can hear it on the phone when they ring through, and right. And so we just put the warning out to the staff. Hey, there's a whanau. Got a suicide, they're coming in. Okay, we'll just step back a little bit because they'll need space.
I'm absolutely amazed at how your mahi is so intuitive, eh? Like, there's no formal training around this.
No.
There's no guys, these are the kinds of families we're going to deal with, and this is the different grief spectrum that they're going to be on. You don't. It's all intuitive, and it's all human, and it's all, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record tonight, but it's all based on aroha and manakitanga and all of that, and it's very prevalent in your mahi, in the way you and your wife do things.
Thank you.
And so I just hearing you say that every family's different, you can hear it on the phone. You're not trained to do that.
No, yeah. But funeral directors have been in the line of work for a long time. They'll know when they watch this, they'll be like, yep, that phone call, you figure it all out then, because you can hear, if there's lots of family, you can hear sometimes people screaming in the back, and you're like, oh, yes, you can understand and figure it out. You can hear if the person is confused, like you're asking them questions. Oh, pardon, say that again. Oh, what was that? And oh, yes, they must be at the hospital. They haven't slept. They're tired. Lots of things going on. And so, yeah, you learn it as you go to pick up all of these little clues along the way and sort of to what you're going to expect with a family that's coming into your care.
That's so awesome, man. I'm so intrigued in terms of the work you do. And also just wanted to ask as well, because like I said before, it can be quite draining, and obviously you're it's kind of like a balancing act in terms of the dynamics with the family, the whanau, then your staff and the team. Has there ever been an instance where you felt like, my gosh, it's just where you find yourself mentally kind of like, I'm not in a good space. I need something to help me, and you find yourself kind of like in a bit of a lull, but more of a low, and you think, oh, I'm just not. And I just can't function right now, even though you're in the industry and while you're working at the same time. Has there been a time where, if you could kind of share?
No, I don't get affected by it. Only thing I get affected by is tiredness, just physically tired, because it's like I could go home and then 2:00 in the morning, someone's dead. Passed away, and so you've got to go. You've got to go because they might have had a heart attack at home on the floor, fell over in the shower. You can't leave them there. You've got to go and help them up and put them in your car and prepare them. So physical tiredness is the only thing that gets us down. But we can get through the mental capacity and the mental stress, if you call it. We're conditioned to that. It's okay. It's just tiredness is the big part.
Jeez. It's a testimony of who you are, obviously as a person, but also how you manage your team and your staff, and obviously your wife is a massive part in terms of support. And so, brother, man, just maybe we needed to do a teaching in terms of how to manage all this stuff and juggle it all at one go, and not be stressed out, and not go have a mental breakdown.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking, have I? No, I haven't. It's just I'm like, darling, I'm tired. I can't do it tonight. Can we call someone else? You know, like if because the sleep disruption is real, and this because you sleep by your phone and it rings and at all hours, and so when you might not get out of bed to go and uplift someone. It might just be inquiries, but that disrupts your day the next day because you've got to because. And by the way, I sleep with a sleep apnea machine. So I'll sit that in the phone rings, I'll take it off, turn it off, and croak my throat. Kia ora, good evening. Because people expect you to be in your office all 24 hours. That's what. And you'll see in time. Kia ora, good evening. Speaking with Francis.
Can you just do it again on your actual voice?
That's what. But now people are going to put your machine back on in the office. Yeah, but that's the reality of it all. And so I sleep with that machine, which helps me, breathe, and gives my wife a good night's sleep with snoring. And so I take it off and then answer the phone.
Oh man!
Yeah, because I'm watching you. I don't know if the cameras pick this up, but you look very well. Like you look after yourself. Hey, like he looks like you.
Thank you.
You're a pretty stylish funeral director. You actually look like you look after yourself in an industry where it's a 24-hour cycle, in an industry where you're dealing with a lot of grief, a lot of emotions, and as you explained or described, you just don't know what you're going to, where the whanau is going to be and how you're going to encounter the way they express their grief.
True.
And so a lot of it, and we all know that all of this is, we can feel what other people feel, but it seems like to me that you you know how to protect yourself, you know how to keep yourself in a space. And I wonder if you're, because I've seen some other funeral directors. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest, they look a bit tired, eh? They look tired out, hard out. But you don't.
They look stressed. They look stressed. Heavily stressed.
But exhausted.
Exhausted. No.
Does
maybe it happens. Like there are days people. I had the deepest privilege of taking care of a vessel, and that I was. When we on the day of the funeral, some of my friends were at the dewdrop. And they were texting me, "Oh, you look tired." I was like, "Kia ora, yes." You know what I mean? Because there were so many people and you gave everything. And so that was a time like we would be walking around with red eyes, and I wouldn't change it for the world. It was one thing you had to get right. And we were, our eyes were falling out. We were tired and people noticed. So it does happen. But just trying to find the balance, which is, now the company's grown. We share the phone calls, the phones at night, so we all have a life. Whereas before it was just Coyote and I all the time answering the phones. Now we share it. So your week, and goes in a rotation to answer the phones. Yeah, so that's how we sort of get a bit of a better night's sleep. Yeah.
Oh, good. And so, other than having a team to share the load, is it just your love for the mahi that keeps you in this space? Or is it, what is it that keeps you going and keeps you loving what you do?
It is, there are certain funerals that, you'll come across and you'll just go, oh, this is why I do it. I love this. Now because we really love funerals, because you see the best and the worst in people. I love it. And not to be weird, but I do love when people are crying because they've broken, like, especially in public. At a lot of Balangi funerals, they won't do that. It's we'll put your glasses on and we'll hide it. And that's okay. And I'm not comparing and saying anything because I look after a lot of Balangi funerals. But for us as a people, we don't care who's watching. I'm going to present the love I have, whether it's through tears, whether it's through snot, whether it's through singing flat, whether it's through, it's just the way it is. And in Māori, we say that, mauria mai, bring your tears, mauria mai o roimata, me o hupe, your snot there. Because that is a true form of crying and of grief, visually. And so I love that. I just think, look at this, because they're not holding anything back. It's going to help them later on because they've really let it out, let it go.
What is it that you love? Is it that you love the
whole ceremony and the ritual of it all?
No barriers expression. The whole ceremony.
Yeah, the whole ceremony, the final day of
Yeah.
the funeral, if it comes off beautifully. They don't all come off beautifully, but if they do, that's what keeps us going.
Yeah.
Me being a Māori, obviously taking a loved one onto the marae, that is the true form of the culture that we get to experience. The mihi, the waiata karanga, tikanga in full force, food. It's just, I just love everything about that for us.
Wow, that's cool.
I like it because I love that it's your passion, and you love the work that you do. It's probably not even like work; it's just your passion. But has there ever been days or a day or a funeral in particular? You're like, my gosh, just hurry up, just get this. These are the worst whanau. These are the worst people. That you said, man, I just want this day to go quickly. Has there ever been instances where or a few instances where my gosh, hurry up?
Yes, but at least once a week. That's with all these beautiful funerals. There are terrible funerals, and again, terrible to me. Maybe not to the whānau, maybe normal to them, but to me, it's there are dysfunctional families. There are some people last year when we had a funeral, I won't mention the cemetery because everyone will be like, I remember that one was live streamed. We had a gentleman pass away and his wife got up and spoke. And then we opened the floor, and then a lady gets up who was his mistress and said that. And then she brought the child up that they had. And I was like, oh, wow. So I ran to the back. I was like, turn the live stream off. And they look at you to get them off like you're the security. Like, get her off. And I was like, whoa. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like saying the F word, like, F. And I was like, oh my gosh. I didn't know what to do because I've never been in that situation. And then, she just kept going on and on and on. And anyway, the wife just went like, get the F off. And so I walked up there. Come with me, dear. Come with me. So we just walked off nicely. But I mean, I'll never...
my gosh,
that was one, and people are talking about it to this day. But it happens. It happens, and so now when I'm sitting in an arrangement and they say to me, can we have an open floor? Are you sure? Maybe we shouldn't, because a lot of people like to give everyone a chance to say a few words.
Open the floor,
open the floor. So now, do you know everything about your husband? I am scarred by this.
Are you sure?
Yeah, all right. Yeah. So maybe we'll get the celebrant or the whaiwhi ao to stand there and make sure and give you 2 minutes each.
Gosh.
Yeah, so that's what it was. And so that's a good example. There are many examples, but generally you can sort them out at the time by, taking someone, come with me. Would you like a water? Take you to the toilet sort of thing, because you can't get too upset. Although I was angry, I was so mad. I got on my phone, I was talking to my wife, and she was like, what? I was like, yeah, go back and watch the live stream.
Oh my goodness. Now tell me, Francis, was it a Samoan wedding? Samoan funeral?
No, it wasn't Samoan funeral.
Does that happen quite a bit when people when people get up and share that kind of information? Or very rarely?
Very rarely. It's not that deep. Like someone might say, I used to like him back in the day. That's cool, but not like we were, he was with me as well as with you. That was, and it wasn't even funny. Like now it is funny, but then everything dropped because everyone, there's the front and then you're at the back, they just go like this. Look at you. They look at you like, get her off. And then, because at the time, I'd been they probably knew what I was thinking as the way I conduct funerals, so they were like, looking at me like, sort it out. And I was like, whoa, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I thought, firstly, let's cut the live stream. And then we'll go up there and just bring her off because it'll be a TikTok soon.
Or a meme.
Yeah, or a meme, yeah. So that was good. I was like, turn the live stream off, went up there and I said, come with me, dear, come. Yeah, so, and it happens just like life. We have our ups and downs. We have good days and bad days. Well, we have good funerals and, bad funerals that sometimes go wrong.
But stuff that you can't control, eh?
Yeah, stuff we can't control. But that's what they remember, though. I was like, after all the beautiful work you did, they're like, Francis, remember the funeral you did that the lady got up and said, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man. Well, maybe we can segue into the new season, so to speak. Obviously, 6 seasons. That's massive. That's massive in terms of Aotearoa New Zealand, in terms of any series or any TV series. 6 seasons, and so obviously, I don't know if we can talk about it, Francis, in terms of the new one that's coming up. Is there anything that if you can share? I don't know.
No, we can just a little bit about it. It's Casketeers around the world. I think that's what they've called it. I forget, but it's something to do with around the world. We're filming in different countries, so we've just finished over in Tonga because I'm half Tongan. So we went over there to see how they take care of Tongan funerals. I met some of my Tongan family over there, which was beautiful, interesting, different. Very different. They don't have embalming over there, so without spoiling too much, it's beautiful in the manner in which they use what they have. So I was like, wow. So that was an eye opener over there. Then we went to Vanuatu, to the mainland, and then flew out to an island called Tana Island, where the volcano is, where it's real village people life living. And that was amazing. And when we go to these countries, we like to try and catch a funeral. In Tonga, we caught a couple of funerals over there, which was lovely, and so they were filmed. And in Vanuatu, we didn't catch any funerals because they are so healthy. They're just they walk everywhere. They eat the fruits off the trees. You'll see it it's so beautiful. And when they do die, it's a heart attack or heart attack usually because there's just not an ounce of fat on them. They walk everywhere and eat beautifully. Wow. And it's really nice. So that's the island we've just come back from, and then we're going to in 2 weeks' time we're going to India.
Oh, nice.
But it's been postponed because of the temperature. 52.1 degrees over there.
Oh my gosh.
And so no, we're not going there for a moment. We're waiting for it to cool down, so we'll go see Varanasi, the cremating of their bodies by the river and their rituals and ceremonies. After India, Mexico, and then Day of the Dead, I think in November, and then Canada to the American Indians.
Wow. So they're all indigenous?
Mostly indigenous,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Trying to keep it. And just, we're going on this journey along with the viewer as well. So we are going to learn at the same time together. Yeah.
Are you giving critique on there, or you just
no,
it's just all experience?
Just all experience, and
wow.
if we can participate, but just go and learn and watch and be inspired.
And with the countries you've been to so far, have you just through those experiences, have you sort of taken some of that on board for the way you guys do things here?
Yes, I have actually taken a few things on board, but it's hard to be relevant because a lot of those places they have their family services, or like in Tonga, but without the body there. Because they don't embalm over there, so they keep the body in the little fridges. But and that means that their family services are quicker, like shorter. As you know, in New Zealand, when we have our family services, they can go on for quite some time, but the body is there. And so I was like, when I went to the Tongan whailotu, they call it, I was like, this was a 45-minute whailotu in New Zealand. Even tonight at the funeral home, it could go on 3 hours, three and a half hours. I was like, nah, that's it. The Tongan people here are 40 minutes. We're going to do 40 minutes in New Zealand. I was like, nah, these are the real people. This is how you do a whailotu. Look, 45 minutes and it's done. So I ring Fehi up there. No more 3.5 hours. It's got to be 45 minutes. But then I was like, they don't have anything to talk to. So, but here they'll all go up and talk to the body. I was like, oh, you're lucky. Yeah. So that was one thing I learned over there. But even when they don't have the body, they do it beautifully.
Oh, how fascinating. That sounds
It
like
is.
quite a journey. And it's a beautiful growth journey, eh? Because there's a...
Yeah.
And whatever,
Appreciation, growth, you're right.
yeah.
Learned and grew so much.
And in every craft that we engage in every business, we're always needing to grow a little bit more every year. So I think what a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you.
That's so cool. I was going to ask about culture, and the different religions, because you do obviously different cultures right across the spectrum, across the board. Have there been any sort of cultural, protocols that have been new to you that you hadn't come across? Like, and I guess I'm thinking of, some of those ones where they have specific, like processes that you have to follow that you've had to kind of learn as you've, taken someone on board.
I guess because of the regulation and rules of New Zealand, a lot of people can't really do their, I'm talking mainly like our Indian whanau,
Jewish.
Jewish whanau. They do it the best they can with the regulation that's in place with our councils and the law of New Zealand, and so if that wasn't there, I think we'd see a lot more of their real ways in which they're allowed to do it. Right now, it's working within regulations of, I think, of councils and that, but everything's pretty much not too far off from the way in which we all do things. The Jewish people are beautiful too, very natural, the way in which they do it. But it's something that when we see it as funeral directors and as staff, the way in which they wrap and wash, I think to myself, that's the way to go. It's so natural, and the participation of the family during the washing process and the wrapping. I mean, we're used to dressing our dead, all of us, and whanau, but when they were there washing, it was quite cathartic for them to do that. And I thought, well, that's something we could, adopt, and something they've got really right, really beautifully. But I think just the time frame, they've got to do it very quickly.
Yeah.
From the time of death, they need to bury probably the next day. But here in New Zealand, obviously, if it's a Friday, they've got to get consent and council, all of that. So it won't be done until a Monday. But generally, it's a beautiful way in which they do grief for the Jewish people. Yeah, Jewish faith.
Yeah, wow. I know there's so many different ways of doing things,
There
eh?
are.
I have a quick question for, because I'm 31. Thank goodness I haven't needed to put on a funeral for someone close to me. I've attended aunties and grandparents and stuff like that, but I haven't had to do it myself.
Yes.
For those first timers, should they have to cross that path, what do we need to do to make the process smooth, to make it an easier funeral, to get the actual logistics out of the way so that we could just focus on grieving? What do we have to do? Say, God forbid someone close to me passed away. What's the process? Like, what do we do? I have no idea how to start.
Yes. Obviously, the first thing you do is you call your funeral home and engage with them. And then the funeral home will lead you through all the necessity, documentation and requirements that we need. But the main thing is because we'll make a time to meet with you, to sit down, to look and to tell us what the plan is. So prior to you coming, and our Pacific Island families have this down packed really well, is to have a family meeting and discuss what you want to do. Then bring that to us and say, we want the funeral on this day, we want family service here, we want you to take mum to the church, sorry, I always say mum and dad, to the church, and then from the church to the hall to the cemetery, like that sort of thing. And then, because those are the questions we're going to ask. And with our generally with our Māori and Pacific families, when they come in, they've already had a meeting, they've had a family meeting and sorted it out and say, okay, this is what we're going to do, Francis. So I think, have the meeting and sort of get a feeling on what you want to happen. And I've never really had a Pacific Island or Māori family that don't know what they're doing. They just, they've learnt along the way, and
There's always a family member that's going to lead that process.
That's gonna help you out. Yeah, but when you come, they generally tell us what they want and what you need from us.
Cool. And what is the time period from when the person passes to, like, how long do you have before, like, you know, it's too late, we can't bury them now, or like, not that you can't bury them, but we need to hurry up and bury them. Like, what is that time period like?
Well, when you call us and we have a chat and you say, oh, such and such has passed away, one of the questions we'll ask is, do we have any time frames? And they say, oh, maybe about 7 days. I say, okay. Or they might say, yes, we want it in about 7 days' time, but we're just waiting for our sister to come from America or from the UK. And at that point, we're like, oh, it could be a while because we've got to think about their passports. They could take a week or two. So from 7 days, we've turned into 2 weeks, 14 days. And so for us, we'll sort of over-prepare the body to last a bit longer than it would for 7 days. And so those are some of the questions we'll ask over the phone as well. Or you might say, oh, no, we just want a 3-day funeral. And then you'll come to us later and say, actually, we're waiting for auntie from Samoa, uncle from there. Oh, yeah, okay. So we have already preempted. We'll always over-prepare our loved ones because it always happens. Yeah, so that's what you get when you ring a reputable and trusted funeral home. They've got to be able to think ahead a little bit, and we'll get that off your phone call. And I'm not talking about just us. There are many who can hear it in the first phone call.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, because you're reputable as well, Francis. I can imagine the workload that just every day, and just the things that you're juggling and carrying at the same time. Well, obviously with the staff and so forth, and your whanau. So what does Francis do? What does Francis do to keep himself sane in terms of, okay, when I'm having a break? What is it? What's your self care? Obviously, it seems like exercise is a massive part of it. But what else do you do in terms of how do I keep myself sane in all this, or maybe even throughout the chaos? What do you do?
It is, when we're not doing work, because we've got the 7 kids, there is always sports practice. And that's great, going to the basketball, going to boxing, the league, and then even just having a daughter. I can easily turn off, and so can my wife. It's easy for us, and that's very normal, like a normal work thing. We'll always have the phone near us, for anything that might come up in terms of staff needing support. But that is our life. That we can't. We've chosen this path. We can't not have the phone, and so we strive to have normality with all of the kids, just keep us so busy. And that's what we do. We're a very musical whanau, so we have lots of waiata throughout the evening and the day. Kids just always with instruments, but mainly our school activities and sports practice, as you know, keeping them busy. And that also is just an awesome thing to keep your mind off mahi.
Oh, awesome. Hey, can you bring the kids out the back? I wouldn't do that to you. Oh, that's cool, man.
And are the kids part of the business?
We were hoping that they would, because we used to live at the funeral home upstairs, and they were brought up, not Francis, but the children prior to him were brought up in the funeral home. So I think they're being traumatized by being told to be quiet all the time now. So they're like, because I'd be downstairs, and so we lived upstairs, and so Mihaka, before Francis, he was about 3 or 4, so I'd be in an arrangement. He'd come down butt naked and go, Dad, Mikai hit me, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, Whanau. Come back upstairs. And so we've got, be quiet, Dad's downstairs with a mate or tangi, and so now they're just over it, and they don't. So I'm sad that I did that to them, but we were. That's what some of the things we had to do, to progress, and so none of them are interested.
None of them
at all. I have my older boys. They're 18-year-old and 16-year-old help out, like washing cars, preparing caskets, but that's as far as they'll go. They're not interested in anything else.
How do they perceive your mahi? Because most kids would perceive that. Oh, on one hand they lived it, and so maybe they're already in it.
Yeah, we get asked that question quite a lot, and I don't know how they perceive it, because you're right that they were Nikora.
It's their norm.
That's their normal. They've been brought up in it. So, but having said that, they like other things than this sort of stuff. Than the funeral business. But that's all they know.
Because one thing I noticed your show has done for me is it's removed a lot of that stigma, around. Do you just call them dead people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys have a specific phrase?
The dead. Yeah, the dead.
Yeah.
The dead.
The dead, like, and just because of the way you model that relationship, you kind of go, oh, okay. You don't have to be scared of a dead body. That actually you can still engage with them in the way that you model on the show. And so I've really appreciated that. And so I just wonder with your kids how they, and I guess we've already answered that, but they'll just view it as the norm for them. Like, here comes another body that mum and dad have to look after, and they probably just see it in that capacity.
Yes, yeah. They know it as mate, so they call him mate. Oh, another mate dad. That's Francis. He's learnt the word mate. He always points out cemeteries. So we drive past, Dad, cemetery, or urupa. Kia ora, son. So I haven't been with him on a school trip. I wonder what he does on the bus. Oh, miss, fire, urupa. But she'll get it, I'm sure she will. But yeah, he always points out cemeteries, and so that's the call. Oh, another mate dad. Or sometimes I'll bring the hearse home because I'm on call and go, oh, is there a mate in there, dad? So that's what they're used to. So yeah, they refer it as a mate.
And do they have the same respect that you have for your work?
The kids, still a bit young. Mika and Miaka, they haven't been back to the funeral home since. But Nikore and Morona, because they were brought up right from children, they could be washing a car and then would back up with the hearse. They would, turn it down. They'll look away. They'll take the body, wheel it past them, turn it back up and carry on washing the car. And to me, whether, I don't know what it is, but I hope that's their little form of respect. And they won't look at it, they'll look this way. Dad's gone past. Doors closed. Yep, turn it back up and carry on washing,
They understand tikana.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah. And it goes without saying, if there's a whanau there, they're like, oh, there's a whanau, moronai, turn it down. So cool, because I've got cameras and I can see in here, and hey, there's a whanau here. So, but they know the drill. Yeah. So, but for the 11, 12, 5-year-old, not yet. Still trying to figure it out.
Still enjoying it.
Yes, still enjoying their lives.
Have they seen your TV show?
Yes.
And what do they think of it?
So actually, no. They see it. Oh, Dad, you're on again. They'll flick the channel. It's just I'm not. Yeah, they don't think a lot.
That's cool.
No, they don't. Like when the ads come on, we could all be in the lounge watching the news or whatever, and we'll come on, and no one will say anything. Just the next dad, but just baby Francis will. He's like, Dad, But all the teenagers, they're not. They're just like, oh yeah,
they're norms.
They're normal. So, yeah. But baby Francis, and maybe the new baby when she sees the new show.
Yeah.
Aye.
Business question, because I also saw on the show that you and I think I told you when I started watching was probably when you bought the vacuum outside, the blower, and that was season 2, eh? Is that what you said? Or season 1?
Season one.
Season one.
Yeah, end of season 1.
And that's when I sort of started watching it. But what I did notice is you're very hands-on. Like everything, you did everything. At what point, and like this is, coming from a business context, at what point do you start to let go? Like I heard earlier that part of your mahi is you're very well known now, and so that could be a distraction at some of the funerals. But even prior to that, I guess because business would have boomed after the show came out, which meant you had to scale up pretty quickly. So how did you figure that all out? Because I can see you're absolutely passionate. You also have such a high quality in your mahi in terms of service, the way things are conducted, processes, protocols, all of that. How did you start sort of letting go and entrusting that others would still carry on the mahi at the same level.
It was when the tiredness thing started kicking in, just staying back late, cleaning, ready for the next one, just all of that, and then not being able to take care of families, because I was like saying to the current staff, you take care of them, I'll prepare the place and get everything ready. And I just was getting tired, and I said to my wife, I said, can we employ some more people? And she said, we can, let's do it. And so that's what we did. We brought them in. We brought the younger people in, and this is just because I knew they're full of energy to help with all of the maintenance and everything like that. And so now we have a lot more staff to help us out around the place. Yeah. And at that point, that was probably in the third season when that happened. It was just overwhelming. It was too much. And that was, not mentally, but physically just tired. I was like, I can't do it anymore. Getting up, and I know I nearly had an accident one night because I was tired, not just like, whoa, gosh, I've got to stop. And that was the key, the time when I said, Mum, we've got to do this. And so, we're so blessed to have beautiful staff. And like I said, I've got my son there at the moment helping out because he knows the standards. And your body tells you, and that was our business director sort of thing telling us, hey, you can't do it, you need help. So we got help. Cool.
Yeah, because I guess on one hand, you're right, you're starting to stretch yourself, but then the trade-off is you now have an increase in bills because now you have stuff, and I liked how you described earlier, payday. You're like, oh my goodness, and this happens on every week. That you gotta, and this is the business side of it, that you also have to juggle, trade off.
Absolutely, and times are tough now. It's harder. As a business owner, with the cost of living issues, it affects us big time because people are struggling to pay their bills, and so we've got to figure payment plans out with families because people are not going to stop dying. It's just how they can afford to do it, because everyone wants the best for their loved one. They want the best food, the best flowers, the best casket, but that's generally not, the best is not always the right thing, and so it's just slowing down a little bit more and giving some guidance, to the whanau and say, but this one does the same and this one looks just as beautiful. So that's what we're up against now, and we're just slowing down and giving our families a bit more options, affordable options.
Wow. It's a lot to juggle, eh?
It is. But again, when people say, oh, how do you do it? I say, I chose this, so this is what I have to put up with, and there you go. Well, but at the same time, I don't want to do this forever. I want to, what am I, 41 this year. I was like, God, I'd like a change. 41? Yeah.
Cut it out.
I said, I'd like a change at some point. A 9-to-5 job would be great,
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So, Francis.
Well, I say that now, but people say to me, you can't. And I was like,
you can't do that.
You can't do that, Francis.
And on some of my business cards, I've stopped printing my cell phone number just because people would ring up. Hi, I don't have a death, but I just want to say I really like your show. And I just said to kind of take my number off the business cards. And so the people who ring me directly now are from way back, who've had my number like 20 years ago, and they have, which is wonderful.
That's how we got you on this thing.
Oh yeah, I was like, that's how you do it. And so you're Kāpai, but on the seasons I used to have my number everywhere, and so that, hi, I'm from Christchurch, and I just want to say my wife and I, and beautiful, but I did not have the time to,
of course.
And so then we took the number off the business cards. Yeah, and we had to, even on the front desk. Now when you ring us, it's a machine. Press 1 for Auckland. Press, because I was against that. I was like, no. Answer the phone with a human voice.
Yeah.
But the numbers coming through, ringing, is Francis there? Oh, can I get, what do you need him for? Is there someone died? No, I've got a new invention for him, a new leaf sucker, and just so many people. And so
helpful.
Yeah. But again, we didn't prepare for that because we didn't think that was like, but people did. they rung up to talk to me, to tell me about this. The front back, you put the baby in, the carrier, and I was blowing with baby Francis, and then phone calls came in. They wanted to speak to me, but we got our receptionist to get through, to sieve through them. And she would say, Francis, there's been a few phone calls saying that it's unsafe for you to carry your child.
Oh my gosh.
Same with the leaf blower, like emails will be coming through.
Oh my gosh.
Which I understand, but we had a baby funeral on the end. The family let balloons off, and then the emails come in. Oh, that's bad for the environment. That's this, and I was like, helium. I was like, well, I get it, but I'm not going to say that to a mother and a father. I was like, no. And so now we have an automated machine now for you.
So what are the options? One for Auckland, one for Wellington,
one for Wellington,
one from the show.
Email if you have Casketeers issues.
One for Francis.
Yeah. So sadly, but you get if you push one for Auckland, and a staff member answers the phone. Yeah.
Do you see yourself building more, planting more funeral homes around the country or even overseas?
Not at the moment. No,
just enjoying the two for now.
Just enjoying the two for now and making sure they're running properly, and then we might think about a third one.
Yeah. That's cool.
Oh man, okay. Yeah. You don't get it like, hey Francis, I got a crush on you, Francis.
Those are those secret flowers. This guy.
No. None of those get in trouble.
No. Oh, if they're generally older ladies, and they ring up. Oh, how are you? I want you to come and take care of me when I die. I want your hands to be the last hands. Oh yes, dear. So and when those people, I put it on speaker so everyone can hear. I was like, no secrets here, so they're all laughing away, and my wife is having a laugh. The staff just give me lots of crap. Oh, Francis, will you travel to do my funeral in Christchurch? And you're the only man who can put your hands on me. Kia ora whānau. But that's the fun part of it.
Yeah, that's fun. Oh my goodness. And so you say, there's an end point? Is that what I heard you say? Possibly. And if you went into another career path, what would it be? Where would you see yourself outside of the space?
Now that you say that, I don't really have any qualifications to do anything else.
Oh, you got plenty.
Oh, no.
Plenty of experience.
I'm not sure. But just 9 to 5. I mean, I say that, but probably wouldn't work. But I'd just to not, everywhere we go, even if it's a night out or whatever, we're always conscious that the phone might ring and that someone. I don't ever want to be the person not to be able to help you. But and it's funny when we go filming and we're on the airplane. Every time we've left, someone we know personally has died, and they've tried to make contact with us while we're up in the air. Not till we land, we're like, oh, did she die? Oh, so we'll get our staff out to go and take care of them. But so it's for that sort of thing. And so even on a night out, the same thing. You got to be there, run and find a quiet spot, and give them the help or advice they need.
Yeah.
Because again, we've said we're available, and so I don't want to be that, too good for us. No. Might be loud on the back and hear all the music and this and that, or the kids screaming at home, because that's the truth of it all. So you might ring me and I'll be, shh, Tipene funerals, Francis speaking, Dad, me haka hit me. So I was like, I'm sorry, I'm at home.
Yeah.
So that's the reality again, and I'm honest with the families.
That's good. And they must appreciate that.
They're like, that's okay. Yeah. So it's real nice that they understand.
Yeah. And it sounds like you really understand your the families, like they're your customers, but you really understand the space they're in. And when they're ringing you out of shock, desperation, not sure where to go, needing another voice to kind of guide them through this. And it can be quite a dark space for most families.
True.
So, I appreciate that you keep yourself available. I think that's so good for people to know. It's not just a sale. It is a whanau that's in real need. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, because you're quite the visionary, Francis. And obviously we were talking about what else are you going to do after? And there's, like Carol was saying, is there a end point in terms of the mahi that you're doing right now? But have you ever considered, because you've got a wonderful voice, you've got a great voice, a singing voice. Obviously, you mentioned your whanau, a musical family. Has there ever been a consideration in terms of maybe I should just try my hand at music or singing? Is it because you do? There's a lot of clips of you singing in your guitar. Has there ever been just a thought like maybe I should just try this?
No. No. Nope. No.
Just pleasure.
Just for pleasure.
Yeah.
I mean, kahore, yeah, maybe the children. If they want to, I'll encourage them to do that. But no, not me. I keep it the way it is. I mean, I have enough trying to run the business, and then, but even there, people asked me to sing at the funerals, and that's that for me. Like that's my little concert there. Kia ora, everybody. Sorry that we're here to bury your dad, but anyway, let's have a waiata, a song, or let's have a hymn, and so that's good enough for me. I'm very
cool.
That's a hard. I was like, there's a pressure of running the funeral, and then you got to sing a song, and you don't want to get it wrong, and all of this. So I was like, yep, kapai. That's my little entertaining concert sort of.
Did you offer that right at the beginning?
No. They'll come to me and say, Francis, we don't have a guitar player. Can you lead this hymn? And so that's cool. We'll do that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
so versatile, eh? So versatile.
I know.
don't think any
God,
funeral
multi-talented.
director is gonna-
Yeah. I'm not the only one, by the way. There's lots of them there that do that.
I've been wondering this from the beginning of our kōrero, like, being that little boy who used to watch, who found a area that kind of got you inquiring and then took you on this journey. But because you're quite meticulous, eh? You're very detailed. I've seen you work. Where do you get that from? Like, where does it come from? Does it come from, like, it must come from somewhere, because you got really high standards, which is great for any business or when you're running an event like a funeral for whanau, anyone would appreciate that. Where does that come from?
That comes from my grandmother, Helen Tipene. She's about 86, 87 now. She lives still alive up in Paoring, and she was, even to this day, she's very meticulous, very particular. She's a clean freak. One of those persons that back in, well, not the day, but a little while ago when I was younger, that when you made the bed, you can't sit on it. She got angry, hit you. Back when it wasn't illegal. But I'm grateful for all of those, by the way. I'm very grateful for all of those lessons. Let's call them lessons. And it's from her. She's the matriarch of the whānau. She was the clean freak, the person that had everything sorted. Those old cabinets with all the cups and things in them. She would bring them out once a week, like they weren't even dusty, and then do it and put it back in and make me help her once a week, and I was over it. But that's, when you say, that was so hoha, and then next minute it rubs off onto you. Hey, it's like, how? I hated that. And so people say to me, you're so neat, you're so meticulous. And I was like, yeah, that's a blessing, but also a curse, because you just can't be settled wherever you are at work. You're like, I've got to clean this again, do that, prepare this. And so, yeah, blessing and a curse. But, I'm just learning to roll with it. Just, I'm not going to die. I hope not. I'm not going to die. No one's dead, but there is someone dead. But, at the same time, it's just like, just roll with it, live the moment. And so that's one sort of little journey I'm going with at the moment. With my wife's help. She's like, don't worry about it. Like because we have our own carpet cleaner we've bought. And I was like, I'll do the carpets this week. She's like, just leave them alone, do them next week. She said, are they going to run away? No, okay, all right. So just going through that at the moment, which is good, very good. Yeah, but that all comes from my grandmother.
Oh, well, good on you for trying to relax on that.
Yeah, relax.
But yeah, no, that's interesting. I think we all have a grandmother like that, eh? They never use those glasses or that cutlery, but they clean it every week. Yeah. They dust everything to even the inside of the frames. Yep, totally get you.
Yeah.
But obviously the relationship with your wife, obviously on screen, it's just, and we talked about it just early on, just natural. You and your wife, obviously, she supports you 100%. And so give us some insights, because some men, in terms of spouses, a bit like, or even wives, we just can't work together. We just clash. We just butt heads. But give us some insights, because some people are like, hey, how do spouses work together like that, and harmony? Tell us sometimes where you guys like, man, gosh, you're making me crazy right now. Has there been instances like that when you're like, especially during the work time?
Absolutely. Even this morning, sorry, throwing under the bus. I mean, throwing us under the bus, not just you. But no, it's hard, very, very hard. And then so I say it's hard, and then because we have our pūrero brunch, and I'll fly down there and take care of funerals while then they get really busy, and then next minute I'm like, oh, where are you, sort of thing. And then she'll feel the same. And then the phone will ring. Oh, what are you doing? Do you need me to come down? Yes, I do. So she'll pop down there with the baby. But it's one of those things, because you've done it for so long, like when we're in each other's space at work and then at home, then it's space, and you sort of sometimes get upset or annoyed. And then you go away like, you can't function properly without, like I can't without her. And I'm hoping her without me. It's that. And we've just learnt how to do it, and I think she's learnt my behaviours, and I've learnt hers. I know the signs. I was like, something's up, whether I'm the cause or not. We're still working on. Like if I'm the cause, I want to know what I've done. I was like, what have I done? But with her, and I'm not saying all women. I'm just saying her, my wife. She's quiet for a little bit, and I was like, okay. Like that. And so slowly you've got to get it. And then eventually she'll tell you what I've done wrong or who it is that's annoyed her. So, but if there was anything I do wish, and she's probably going to watch us and be like, how dare you? I wish that, like as soon as it happens, just tell me straight away instead of prolonging it a little bit.
Yeah, nice.
Can
you say it again? Because
they do it, she just holds it. I'm like, because I like it sort of like, what's wrong? But anyway, yeah, so yeah.
And that's males, eh? Males like to sort it out, move on. And we like to linger and hold it, let it lag.
Oh man, I tell you, it's just it has been. Obviously, I'm mindful of time, but brother, it has been such a pleasure, absolute pleasure, because not often do we come to have this kōrero and just at Talanoa. And especially with the line of work that you do, people might, that's a little bit unusual, but it's just, it is the mahi that you do, but you do it well, you do it with excellence, and you bring a lot of joy to people and into the whanau, that people who have deceased and passed on. But not only that, but to the people who are alive, and they see what you do, not only on the screen, but also on real time when they're during the funeral. And so, just an absolute pleasure. And your personality, you are who you are on TV, on the screen. But I sense, and I know your aroha and your heart for the work that you do. And so, who better than you to do this mahi? And so, brothers, for me, I've just been blessed, truly blessed, and just thank you for your kōrero and your time as well. Obviously, the questions are still open, but I've just really enjoyed this kōrero, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Likewise, I really enjoyed meeting you in person. And Patia's right. Who you are on screen is who you are off screen. And the same aroa that you have on screen is sitting with us right here. And such a privilege. Such a privilege. The only problem is we're missing the other half.
Yes.
And I wish we could have sat with her too, but your kōrero in regards to her has kind of brought her to life in this space. I appreciate that. And again, like Patia said, thank you for doing the mahi that you do. And I know you said that you feel like that you came to this industry, but it feels like the industry called you. And what a privilege it is to have someone like you who does the mahi that you do with the the love that you have. And so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
Kia ora. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Well, just one more thing, Francis. What is the ultimate goal? Like you said, there might be an end point, but what is the ultimate goal for you, and what brings you utmost joy And no, it could be just the mahi, it could be your whanau, whatever. But what's the ultimate goal? But and also, brings utmost joy for you as an individual and as a person?
For the utmost goal is always a whanau, obviously, and that is to make sure the children grow up, and I don't expect them to be doctors or nurses, but to have respect for whanau and for people around, because it's very hard to find, nowadays with all the things that are going on. But as long as the kids can grow up and respect and have love for people and one another, I'm happy. That's all that is. I don't expect them to be rich or anything like that. Have a job, but just have respect and love for one another, and carry on the teachings that that my wife and I have given the kids. That's all I'd like, and I'm happy after that.
Awesome. And you said that in the sense of, do you see that there's a lack of respect nowadays, or but what kind of gauge in terms of our whanau, also our men or our young men?
Yeah, definitely. I've seen bits and pieces, obviously, with the kids in high school and this and that. And when I say respect, I'm talking probably about my own kids, so that they know. My younger kids will be brought up in a better way than we were in terms of what they have. But I just want to make sure that they understand, like when we go overseas, we go to Fiji quite often, and we'll always go to the village that our nanny comes from, so they can see like what they have. And so I need them to, and there's been a couple of times where they've laughed and said, when the whanau were washing the clothes in the river, all of that sort of thing, and they're like, why don't they use a washing machine? I need them to understand that what you have is a blessing, and so respect everyone around their beliefs and culture. My children see a lot of different things, well, the older boys anyway at the moment, and the way whanau do their funerals, and they're like, Dad, because some people eat near or around their bodies, and so for them I need them to understand, respect that. It's wonderful. That's how they do it, not the way we do it. And respect your elders. And I'm happy after that. That's all I want. To make sure they understand life, be grateful and respectful, and have love for everyone.
Oh, awesome. Beautiful.
That's cool. That'll go far.
Beautiful. Any last words, Brett?
Oh yeah, I pretty much just mirror what they say. Thank you for coming on, bro. You're an amazing dude. What you guys do is awesome, and it definitely takes a lot of professionalism, a lot of heart to do what you do. I mean, just thinking about having to go through a funeral like every other day is like, what the? It's kind of crazy, to be honest. You got to be a special kind of person. So we're grateful for you. Who do we get life insurance through?
There are lots of them, but look out to see who's the best. There's premiums around, and that. At the moment, Cigna are really good. Cigna, so just putting it out there. And I don't have any affiliation. It's just when they say they pay their money to their families, they do.
That's good to know.
I love it for the families. They're like, we're with Cigna. I was like, you'll be fine. Don't worry, they'll come through. So they're good at the moment.
Awesome, man.
Well, that's good to know.
Oh man, mahalo au pito, man, mahalo au pito. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
But we do have a gift. We do have a gift for you. Every guest that comes on, we always give them we draw a sketch or a caricature of how we envision them to be. And so, Dogo, this is on behalf of the Mandate team. Caroline.
Thank you very, very much. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Who drew that? Oh,
no, hey man, no, it was a joy, absolute joy. Sketching you today. So no, man, and so man, just all the best. All the best with the funeral home, your business, your whanau, and also the new ventures, the new episode overseas. We just pray for many more blessings over you and your whanau and the work that you do, because you bring so much joy. You bring so much joy to a lot of whanau. And so, blessing to you. But also, is there anyone, before we conclude, is there anyone that you can think of that would be ideal to come on? Do you think, man, you should have this person on the podcast? Is there anyone on the top of your head, Francis?
Probably after coming on here, my wife would love to.
Yeah.
I should have said someone else, but I was like, I'm going to get home. She's going to be like, I want to go on on there. Yes. Sure. But you know, there are many. I've got lots and lots of people I look up to, and lots of people that everyone looks up to. But I think just while I'm here, I was like, yeah, and to give her a fair shot of some of the comments I've made, to counter some of the kōrero. But that's my little kōrero.
Awesome.
Thank you, tēnā koutou. Thank you all for having me on here.
Oh no, thank you so much. What an absolute pleasure once again. But just you always give the guests the last words. Any last words for the viewers and the listeners, Francis? Any words of positivity or anything you want to? It could be a quote, whatever, and something in te reo.
Yeah, I just probably want to say tēnā koutou. Thank you. You know, thank you all for making this possible, because I think there's so much for everyone on all walks of life, men and women, that we can take away, as I have from the other episodes and episodes to come. I'm very grateful, because it's been a long time coming that we needed a place that we can just, because there are not many platforms we can speak like this, you know, and here we're just open and we record it all the way in which we do, and there's a lot of learning for a lot of our male rangatahi and our men to be able to open up and kōrero in this manner. I know my sons will watch this and be like, Dad, what did you say that for? But I'm like, yeah, because we can, son. Me kōrero pēnei. We can talk like that. But for me, what I've learned in my short time is that there is, and a person who strives for everything to be perfect. But for me, is one thing to remember is that there is perfection in imperfection. And that is something that I now know and I live by, because it's striving to be perfect is a lot of work. It is tiring. And so now I'm like, well, I'll strive to do the best that I can at the moment. And so if that's kōrero tautoko to anyone else who might relate, that is what I have to leave with you. Kia ora tātou.
Oh, kia ora.
Awesome.
Kia ora. No, thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe, and we look forward to your well thought out comments. And as usual, team,
Refine
Unlock.
and take charge.
Mandate.